Welcome to the Genetic Code. I'm your host, Jeanette Collins. This podcast is designed to take you one episode at a time on an intimate journey of your own personal transformation. Each podcast will have tools and techniques for you to practice in your daily life to create the very best version of you. Let's get started. Intention. We have been practicing deeper awareness and focused attention, which has brought you to making different decisions. The next part of your transformational journey is to set an intention. Intention means done on purpose, deliberate. But there's much more to intention than that. Intention is an energy that we connect to. It's an unmeasurable, indescribable force that is in the universe. Just like everything here on this planet, you were intended here, just like each animal, bug, mountain, etc. The power of intention is alive. It's a living energy that you are connected to. When you become aware of what you're thinking and feeling, and have focused your attention on the patterns, programs, and behaviors you would desire to change, you begin making decisions to think differently, and talk differently, and act differently. Decisions get made on what behaviors are acceptable and what behaviors aren't working for you anymore. The momentum you're consciously building to transform your way of living and being is getting bigger. Now, as you start making these life decisions to change your behaviors and patterns, you will desire to know where you're headed. What does changing your life look like? What will change in your everyday world as you change? When you make the decisions to change and create a new way of being, it's very helpful to write down what you would like your new way of being to look like, feel like, and how you will choose to respond to new behaviors in you and around you. Be clear with what works for you and what doesn't. And just because an old, unloving behavior seems to get you a little of what you think you want, doesn't mean it's working. For example, yelling at someone to shut up and then they do isn't what I would necessarily call working for you, unless you're intending to fight and argue as a way of being. Then this podcast might not be what you need. To set an intention to change a behavior will require that you have a new vision of you instead of the old one. You'll need to be willing to create new patterns and behaviors that are loving to you and others that will support you in your ever-evolving and expanding lifetime. Just like making a grocery list of what you intend to purchase at the store, so you don't just hungry purchase, you have a conscious, intentional list of the things to get that will support you and your new way of being. So maybe consider creating a few notes of the ways of being that you intend to create. When you contemplate a new way of being for yourself, and you surround yourself with the intention to experience these changes, ask yourself a very powerful question. How would I feel when I experience what it is I am intending? For example, how would I feel if I no longer was angry at the traffic? How would I feel if I was now just calm and peaceful as I drove? You will know what the feeling is the moment you ask the question, because the opposite is always available immediately. That's why we desire it. So if you're feeling depressed, you desire to feel better. And when you feel angry, you desire to be at peace or free. The beauty in all this is that we are never without anything we desire. The desire is there to fulfill our longing for it. So let's understand intention a little more. Intention is about learning how to create. When you have an intention to do or become something, or change a behavior, start to contemplate your new way of being and surround yourself with the intention. For example, I intend to create a podcast that will reach people all over the world and provide the tools and techniques for them to use and practice in their own lives. So part of my intention is to feel what I would feel if what I wanted was now a fact. So how would I feel? Excited, free, grateful, and so forth. So now as I take steps forward to follow my intentions, and I on purpose remember how I would feel, those elevated emotions are connecting me more deeply to the source of all intention. This intention is a field of energy, and it's very intelligent and loving. You were intended here, right down to the very color of your hair and shape of your face. When you intentionally feel and express your new emotions of gratitude, joy, love, freedom, or whatever you would feel at the fulfillment of your desire, you are emanating the same energy frequency as the field of intention, and like energy attracts like energy. The way you feel is powerful in creating a new way of being and a new and better version of you. So your awareness of the old you and your behaviors with the awareness of who you are now becoming has taken some focused attention and conscious decisions to change. Now you're setting an intention to support your new you, and this intention has emotions to support it. If you aren't sure what you may feel if your intentions were fulfilled, then start with gratitude. Gratitude is the parent to all other emotions. So it's easy to imagine that when you have more of what you desire, that you would naturally feel grateful. When you have your attention and awareness on your new way of being and make decisions to stop wishing for it, you start making decisions to do something now, to take some action, to create a different thought, which will create a different feeling, leading to different behaviors. With your intention set to become this new you, and you understand that your intentions are supported by a greater field of intention, you can wisely choose the emotion to surround yourself with. If you set the intention, for example, to get up early and sit in silence for 30 minutes because you want to experience doing something different, then part of setting your intention is to become aware of the obstacles that will want to drag you back to the old behaviors. About 7 years ago, I decided that I was going to make meditation a daily practice for me. I had up to this time meditated, but it was off and on and not very consistent. So after seeing that I desired this change and making the decision to do it, I set the intention to make this change and stay with it even if all hell broke loose. I chose 4 a.m. to get up and meditate because I have this old family belief pattern that says I need lots of sleep to be able to function, and rising that early will make me too tired to have a good, productive day. So with my intention set and my willpower in place, I went to bed. The alarm went off at 4 a.m. and I was up, excited and headed into my meditation. I was good for about a week. Then this horrible thing started happening. When my 4 a.m. alarm went off, my body started thinking for itself. Oh, good grief. Who the heck's going to know if you get up at 4 a.m. and did your meditation? Go do it at 8. Who's going to care? Just rest. That's what I started hearing. That's the story that started talking. Now I had another decision to make. I was upsetting a belief pattern, and no part of me was liking it. So my decision was this. I agreed that no one would know, and that maybe an 8 a.m. meditation would be just fine. But I would know. And I wasn't changing me for all those somebodies out there. I was doing it for me. So I slid out of bed like a stubborn child with a frown on my face and headed to my spot to meditate. That day I sat to meditate. I felt a lot of old feelings and stories and emotions. It felt kind of pointless to me because I thought I was supposed to have more willpower and more drive than that. Shoot, mine only lasted a week, I was thinking to myself. So here's the interesting point that I want to make. When I set my intention to meditate at 4 a.m. and to change my old patterns, I didn't realize all the reasons to not do it were going to fight to keep their position in my world. I have now been meditating once, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day consistently for 7 years. I would never have stuck with it had I not decided that doing it for me was more than enough. When you change the direction you're heading to a new way of being, what was familiar to you and felt normal, but from experience you can see it no longer serves you, those patterns will begin to break down. When the old ways start to break down because you're choosing with an intention a new, better way, it feels uncomfortable in your body. And your body will beg, plead, and bargain with you to go back to the old. Here's the best news ever, though. You have had years of personal experience that the old ways that you're choosing and changing created all those old unwanted ways that you were feeling and living by. So you know it wasn't satisfying or fulfilling, or you wouldn't have made the decision to change. Now, just like when you walk on a well-traveled path in the mountains, you will usually step into the most commonly used and worn areas because it looks like a safe and known path to follow. But venture off the beaten path and create one you want to take, and this will require a greater awareness, focused attention, and conscious decisions to make the path usable to you. Then, when you're ready, you set an intention to keep going and discover a new path, a new you, and you overcome those patterns and behaviors, fears and emotions that want to take you back to the known path where you feel like it is safe and comfortable and familiar. But in order for you to experience this new you and a better version of you, you are choosing to follow your inner knowing that nothing will change until you do. Okay, so let's just do a recap. You are aware of you more and more. Your old behaviors are familiar to you, and you are desiring to change your behaviors and change your life. You have put a focused attention on your thoughts and emotions, and with all this new information you're gathering, you made new decisions to match your new ways of thinking and feeling. So with that in place, you have set an intention to take actions that are more aligned with your more loving thoughts. This intention isn't just you having willpower, but that you are choosing to connect through your emotions of gratitude and love to a greater field of intention, and by matching your emotions to the greater field, you have an amplified source of power to forge onward on your intentional path of becoming a greater you. The you that you have desired and known was possible if you just knew how to get there. Well, now I hope you do. Be gentle with you, patient with you, and continue to inspire yourself to be the explorer of your new world. The evidence of your efforts will begin to show up for you in many different ways, saying lovingly to you, "Keep going, darling. You're worth it." I invite you this week to become aware of the intentions of change you are creating for you. Know that your intention is connected to the greater invisible field of intention that's deeply loving and intelligent. By deciding to consciously choose to feel gratitude or another elevated emotion, you are matching the invisible greater power around you. Your intention to change, to be better than you were, is a journey to learn to be more compassionate and gentle with you while pursuing your new path with great anticipation of beauty and joy. Thank you for joining me on this podcast. Please share this with others and tune in next week for another chance to learn, grow, and become a part of the greatest journey on earth, the journey to transform yourself, to empower yourself, and to extend that love to the world. You are worth it.